The trial of Eze Ndigbo, a legal battle for identity. Frederick Nwajagu, the self-styled Eze Ndigbo of Ajao estates, sat in the crowded courtroom, his face a mixture of anxiety and determination. The walls of Lagos State High Court at Tafawa Square echoed with hushed murmurs as the judge prepared to deliver the long-awaited verdict. Nwajagu had been locked in a bitter legal struggle for nearly 2 years. Since his arrest in 2023, he had faced serious charges: terrorism, financing terrorist activities, and associating with IPOB, a group banned by the Nigerian government. His fate now rested in the hands of the court. The charges against Nwajagu stem from a video he made warning Yoruba youths to cease their attacks on the Igbo community in Lagos. In the video, he threatened to invite members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, to protect Igbo properties if the government failed to ensure their safety. To many, his words were a call to arms, a threat of violence that could ignite further ethnic tensions in the already volatile city. But for Nwajagu and his supporters, the video was a desperate plea for protection. If we did not stand up for ourselves, who will? Nwajagu has said in interviews, stressing that his only aim was to safeguard the lives and properties of the Igbo community in Lagos, which had been facing increasing hostility. His arrest was swift. The Lagos state government accused him of inciting violence, a direct link to IPOB, and of undermining the peace in Lagos. He had been remanded in Ikoyi prison, denied bail repeatedly. His supporters believed the charges were politically motivated, aimed at silencing the voice of the Igbo community in Lagos, a city that had long been seen as a melting pot of diverse ethnicities and interests. As the court proceedings dragged on, the prosecution's case began to unravel. They struggled to provide concrete evidence that Nwajagu had actually financed terrorism or that his threats had led to violence. His lawyer, Chief Fabian Onwualu, argued that Nwajagu's actions were simply a response to a perceived failure by the government to protect the Igbo people. It is not an attempt to promote terrorism. Threatening to invite IPOB members was not an endorsement of terrorism. It was a desperate warning. Onwualu told the court, the law has not been able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Eze Ndigbo here has committed terrorism. He was merely exercising his right to free speech. The judge, Justice Yetunde Adesanya, seemed to agree with the defense argument. On January 15, 2025, Nwajagu was acquitted for all terrorism-related charges. The courtroom erupted in applause from his supporters as the judge declared, the prosecution has failed to substantiate the allegations of terrorism against the defendant. Mr. Nwajagu is hereby discharged and acquitted. It was a moment of triumph for Nwajagu, but the victory was short-lived. Despite the acquittal, he was not free. The court had convicted him on a lesser charge, impersonation. Nwajagu has been sentenced to 12 months in prison for parading himself as Eze Ndigbo of Lagos, a title not recognized by Lagos state government under its Oba and Chiefs law. His supporters were stunned. The charge, though less severe, felt like a blow to their cause. The court has convicted Nwajagu for assuming a traditional title that the state does not recognize. Onwualu said, clearly frustrated, but what does that say about the rights of Igbo people to preserve their identity? The Eze Ndigbo institution is an important part of our heritage, and its recognition should not be left to the whims of Lagos state law. He's actually trying to say Igbos can decide to organize themselves anywhere they live. They can have institutions that may not pertain to the government. They can have institutions just like in a meeting, you can have chairman. In a meeting, anywhere you reside, you have chairman of that meeting. The Eze Ndigbo is not a kind of a political or something that requires approval of the state. That's what he's trying to say. Nwajagu's defense team vowed to appeal the conviction, arguing that it violated their client's fundamental right to freedom of association and expression, and that was it. To them, the charge of impersonation seemed like a legal technicality. That is a convenient way to punish a man whose action has stirred up ethnic tensions in the city. Nwajagu, a leader of Igbo community in Lagos, has assumed the title of Eze Ndigbo. He assumed this title to represent his people, to give them a voice amid rising fears of marginalization and discrimination. The case was not just about one man. It was about the right of a community to govern itself, to preserve its identity, and to demand equal treatment. The Igbo people in Lagos, who had long faced the challenges of being a minority in the sprawling cities, saw Nwajagu's trial as a symbol of their struggle for recognition and respect. Today, we celebrate the fact that the truth has come to light, Onwalo declared after the verdict. But we also mourn the fact that the state has chosen to criminalize the very essence of who we are. Perhaps we not even have market leaders again. We have to take permission from the state to have market leaders, or our maybe normal meetings in the city. Maybe because we're in Yoruba land, we don't have to choose leaders. I don't know what. Perhaps that's what they are trying to say. As Nwajagu was led out of the courtroom, his supporters continued to chant his name. Although he has been convicted, many saw the ruling as a moral victory, a statement that the fight for ethnic rights and cultural preservation in Lagos was far from over. In the coming days, Nwajagu's legal team would appeal the conviction, determined to challenge the very idea that traditional titles and identities they represented could be treated as criminal offenses. Can you imagine? The legal battle was far from over, but Nwajagu's resolve remained unshaken. For the Igbo community in Lagos, the trial had only strengthened their sense of identity and their resolve to fight for it. In the end, the case of Eze Ndigbo was not just about the law. It was a struggle for recognition, for justice, and for the right to be who they are in a city that has long been a crossroad for Nigeria's diverse ethnic groups. And as the story of Frederick Nwajagu unfolded, it became clear that the fight for ethnic rights in Lagos was one that would continue to echo in the courts, the streets, and the hearts of its people for years to come. The fact is that there was a time I opposed this idea of Eze Ndigbo outside an Igbo. But that doesn't mean I oppose Igbos having an identity or having something to unite them and something to make them speak in one voice. No. Yes, I opposed Eze Ndigbo outside an Igbo. The reason I opposed it was because some of these our people do abuse it. Some of the times there is no respect for our Ezes in an Igbo. They tend to like a kind of raise shoulders. They don't have respect for the true Ezes of an Igbo. That is why I oppose it. But to have for Igbos to have a kind of meeting, association elsewhere, to speak up in one voice as an association speaking for them and having a leader of that association, I'm not opposed to that. So this ruling for me, it's like trying to shut down the voice of a people because they are in your place. Like they don't have a say. You can't have Eze Ndigbo. It's not permitted because of one Oba in Lagos rule, or rule that is meant for a decree whatsoever. The people do have, okay, maybe we should not call it Eze Ndigbo again. But if you reside in any country, especially en masse, even if you are few, I think there is a way you people should be able to meet. And that is why they have meetings. And such meetings have leaders. And it's through such leaders that such meetings can pass out their message. It is through such leaders that such meetings can say, this is our grievances and this and that. So I'm opposed to this kind of ruling. Okay, he has been acquitted of every other charges, the terrorism whatsoever. Now they are trying to hold him down. They also forgot that he's been dead for 2 years in detention. And even that aside, we cannot be silenced. Okay, the idea of Eze Ndigbo title could be squashed, but we must have a voice. We must have a voice. Viewers, what do you think about this? Add your comment on the comment section. This is where I'll round up on this one. Share widely